we heard some concerns from some senators about retribution. Senate President Euer just told us that he doesn't punish people. What is your expectation about whether any of the people who supported you or whether you yourself will face sanction or punishment?
Well, I certainly hope that we move to a different position that was stated. That's not been how I felt this year. I think we've had a very rough year through the absences. I think the chamber can be more effective. And I also think the mere point of me bringing up the discussion about the president's health and how we're going to be effective, obviously, was retribution towards me. And so I hope that this is a new leap. I hope we're going somewhere new forward. Because I think what ultimately matters that senators care about is getting things done and being effective for the people of Rhode Island. And that is what has to happen. So I am hopeful for something different. But if that does not come, I do know that senators are going to be looking to make a change in the future.
So you're saying the falling out between you and President Euer was due to you raising issues and concerns about his health and its effect on the Senate?
I'm not aware of what his issue is. He has never communicated that issue to me personally. Despite my asking multiple times why, it's been relayed to me that others that perhaps I was trying to do the job as president while he was absent, and that may have ruffled the feather. But I don't know. You'd have to ask the president what his reasons were. I'm not aware. He's never been able to tell me, and I've asked multiple times what those reasons were.
Do you think Rosario can do the job effectively right now?
I have very serious concerns about that. I think I'm very hopeful for his health to improve and to get better. If the last year and a half is anything from what we expect for the next 2 years, I do think this is going to be a consistent conversation and something that we need to be honest with our members about and honest with the people of Rhode Island about. This is a very significant time in the state and what the issues that are coming for us that we need to be able to make sure we have an effective chamber working for the people of Rhode Island.
What was your kind of reaction after the vote?
It was not unexpected. As you know, we know how we've been counting. We knew that where the vote was. We were ultimately going to be about 2 votes shy of the majority of senators in the caucus. And so we communicated to all members beforehand that we thought we were going to come up to 2 votes shy, and that allowed members to make their own decision. But I do think where we are going forward is that we're going to be looking to ensure that we can be effective, we can make the chamber run. The chamber doesn't exist for me, it doesn't exist for any member of the Senate, it exists to be able to get things done for the people of Rhode Island.
Do you think because you didn't have the secret vote, it hurt you in the end?
I doubt it reached it.
Okay, that's fine.
I do think that there are some, I do think there are many members who voted out of long-time loyalty or even compassion for the Senate President's current condition that with a secret ballot that level of compassion may not have been felt. So I think it could have been a different outcome, yes.
Senator Euer, are you looking forward to being the chair of Judiciary again this year?
Yeah, I would love to continue to serve. I'm not clear what they meant in some of the assertions about how we don't have any chairs.
Yeah.
But again, I really raised the concerns because of my concern about his health and the ability to be present in the Senate and available to members, because it doesn't work for leadership when you have some, members who are worried about calling, right, because they don't want to bother him because they're human and they don't want to bother somebody who's sick. I think that breaks down communication channels, and that's what I've seen over the past year and a half, because he's been dealing with a lengthy illness, and the explanation of that has transitioned over time. So,
did anything the president said today change or alleviate any of your concerns?
I think that, the assertion has been made that his doctors have said that he's in better health, but I would love to see a doctor's note.
And I would just add to that, I think many of the things that we have been told as senators for the last year and a half around, he'll be better next week, we'll be better next month, we'll be back next month. I think the reason that a group of us, we don't believe that anymore. And again, I hope that is true. But I do think, we need to be clear on the health of our Senate President and be able to make sure that this institution can work for the people of Rhode Island. And it has not been working for the people of Rhode Island. It has not been working for senators, and we need to make sure that we can do that.
And on the subject of why you were not in any of the budget negotiations and end of session negotiations, I asked the Senate President, he said he did not know why that was. Do you know why that was?
If the Senate President did not not know why that was, then I have serious concerns about what he does know is happening in the Senate every day. That was his decision, is what I was told by his chief of staff. I think one of the concerns that senators do have is they are not always sure that the Senate president's chief of staff is truly talking for the Senate president. And I think senators have concerns that the Senate is being run by an unelected staff person. And if the Senate president is not aware as to why I was not allowed to do my job by his own staff, who not only told me that I was not allowed to do my job, staff members told me that, not the Senate president. And that's a very big concern, and should be a concern to all senators, that unelected staff person can, I congratulate Leader Lawson being elected tonight, but if she's going to be told she can't do her job by staff, that's a big concern. And that was also communicated to House leadership that they weren't to work with me. And so I think that senators had a lot of frustrations at the end of the session that quite frankly, their legislation was not completed. It did not make it across the finish line. It was amended. The Senate priorities were not fought for. House members have told me directly that the Senate was completely disorganized and that House leadership was looking to find bills to give to the Senate because they felt so bad about the Senate not being organized to get their work done. That's the truth of what's been happening in the Rhode Island Senate. And so I think this is I'm hopeful that things move back and the Senate will be a functioning institution in January, but I have not seen any evidence tonight or in any conversations that we've had that is going to be different. And a lot of senators have asked for that. A lot of senators asked for in-person meetings with the Senate President, we're not able to get them. Asked for phone conversations, have not been able to get them. Asked for a plan. Asked for, if the President's not there, who's in charge? None of that has been answered, and there is a very significant concern with senators on that issue.
There was some very sharp debate tonight. Does that show that the Senate remains very fractured about this question of the Senate president's health?
I do believe that is true, and there's a lot of senators that have compassion, as we all do as humans, and that is important, and that is why I think you saw some of the senators not say anything. But I do believe that the majority of senators have concerns. A majority of senators have seen legislation fail. A majority of senators have seen the institution not function. What you saw tonight was some of those senators being willing to pop their head up and say it publicly, and others are waiting for this to play out a little bit further. But this is one vote. There's another vote in January. I think in order for the president to maintain the support that he has tonight, he's going to have to continue meeting with senators, laying out a plan, and making them believe that this is going to be different in January. Obviously, the caucus was called very quickly. That was intentional for some reasons. But there's multiple months here that I think the Senate president needs to prove that he is capable, he is ready to lead the chamber in January, and the formal vote for the Senate presidency is in January. This is not the formal vote for that.
Thank you.
What was at the heart of the falling out between you and Ryan Pearson?
I just think there was a need for new leadership on that level.
And tell us again a little bit more about your top priorities for the new session with the state facing a big deficit.
Well, obviously, we're interested in healthcare. I mean, that's something that's been ignored over a period of time, so we're going to take a look at that because that's something that we need as far as primary care physicians and things like that.